Hi everybody, it's Jenn from McCreath here. It's July 9th, 2016. Seems we have a bit of a controversial issue on our hands with this week's St. John's Pride Parade here in St. John's, Newfoundland next week. Apparently there's a few people that seem to have been misinformed to the point where they believe that the Royal Newfoundland Constabulary Police Force is anti-trans, anti-gay, and anti-black. Well, let me tell you something, folks. I work for the RNC. I am one of the few openly out trans people employed by any police force in North America. In fact, I've only ever heard of one other trans person in North America who has been hired and works for a police force in either Canada or the United States. Let me tell you something. I've been there for 3 years. Out of all the places I've worked and all the people I've worked with in my entire life, I can honestly say that this organization has been by far the most accepting and appreciative of me and my work, and accepting of me as a trans person, and supportive in my life's transition journey. Yes, it's true. There's a lot of negative news stories that we've seen going around the world, many of which have come out of the United States, about police being violent against minority groups such as blacks, gay, and trans people. There's been retaliatory terrorist-like style attacks this past couple days in Tennessee and Dallas. Of course, a British trans person traveled to Toronto a couple years ago. I'm sorry, I can't remember your name. Was placed in the wrong prison. But you know what, folks? Do not blame Toronto. Do not blame Dallas or anywhere else. Or actually, what I'm saying is, do not blame Newfoundland or the Newfoundland police forces for what goes on in those towns. St. John's Pride has apparently lost touch with reality. They're asking apparently asked the RNC not to attend the parade in uniform for no apparent reason other than myths and fear. Let me tell you something, St. John's Pride. Let me tell you something, trans people of Newfoundland. We deal with myths all the time. There's a myth out there, especially going around the states, places like Mississippi and North Carolina, that trans people are predators. That trans people should not be using public bathrooms. The last thing we need is trans people and gay people spreading myths that are false about the Royal Newfoundland Constabulary Police Department. Well, you people out there, when you pick up that phone and call the police department, 20% of those calls are answered by a trans person. Yes, me. You probably have no clue that it's me on the other line, because it's not really our role to give our names out or anything like that. We're there to take information. But every time I go into work, I probably answer the phone 200 to 300 times. And you know what? People genuinely seem pleased with the help that I'm able to provide. And I think members of the Pride Board, you are not representing the LGBT community on this one properly. You failed to do your research. You failed to do your outreach. And because of this, you do not have my support. You will not see me at any of your events this year. You will not see me endorsing or recommending or supporting anything that you are doing. In fact, I am asking people not to attend events organized by St. John's Pride Incorporated this year. Furthermore, there appears to be a separate trans march being organized by two individuals, one associated with a trans support group out of Memorial University, and the other one, I'm not quite sure if they're associated with MUN Pride on Campus or not, but I see Pride on Campus is advertising this as well. I gotta be honest, it concerns me to see members of this trans march is supposed to be separate from Pride, but it appears from what I'm reading here on social media that this may also be some sort of anti-police rally. And if that's the case, you can forget about it. I will not be there either. I will not be attending your event either. Sorry, Jude and Alex. Once again, you folks obviously have lost touch with what's really going on in the world around you. And it's disappointing, I must say. It's disappointing to see all these so-called community leaders not reaching out to someone like myself, who has not only been living here as an out trans person in St. John's for the past 9.5 years, but someone who's deeply involved and engaged in a lot of aspects of the community, including police work. And I find it disappointing that there's a resource of potential that is being overlooked and ignored, and perhaps for some reason even being belittled and erased. So yeah, you can all forget it. I don't want to have anything to do with any of this garbage. And I really hope the true community leaders out there who have sat back and doing nothing for the past 10 years get off their ass and take action. When I created St. John's Pride Incorporated in 2010, my goal was to come up with a system that allowed the public to nominate people into the Pride organization who would truly take their issues seriously. And there seems to be a lack of interest. The turnout at recent St. John's Pride Board elections is, now I don't have the exact numbers, but it's very, very small compared to the amount of LGBT people who actually live here. So if you really care, it's time to step up to the plate, people. And if St. John's Pride Incorporated won't change, then we're going to have to come up with alternative measures. We've seen it happen in other cities, other Pride organizations. Rad Pride Halifax, a good example of that. Organizations that truly represent the people. But yeah, just wanted to make it clear that I do not support St. John's Pride. And at this point, I'm having reservations about this trans march, this rogue march. And bottom line, I do not really have any reason to associate with Pride Week at all this week, and I will not be seen at any events this week. And I'd like to think that that is sad and disappointing. The bottom line is that the people running these organizations add no value to me, nor do I see them adding value to the community, nor do I see their entities allowing me an opportunity to add value to them or the community around them. So that's really upsetting. But yeah, I want to set the record straight. The RNC, Royal Newfoundland Constabulary, is a great organization. Their diversity, education, and acceptance is perhaps the best in North America when it comes to their inclusion and understanding of gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgendered, and other minority issues. And it's a shame that they are being improperly called out and punished without any fact to back it up. So just wanted to make sure that that was out there. And once again, Jennifer McCreath, not going to St. John's Pride, not going to any events, and asking you people out there not to support them either. Because those of you businesses, if you actually do support this organization, I'm going to have to call you out. If you're going to spend $20 to get into their silly little parade, you're going to lose my business. And maybe you should think about that. So there you have it. My reaction to this ridiculous story. I'm trying to keep myself low profile. I'm sick and tired of turning my camera on and talking about how this city and this community is falling apart. But this is one I want to make it clear that my stance on it. Because I don't want people judging me based on what other trans people are saying and doing. Because quite frankly, I don't think there are any trans people in this province that are on the same page as me. And that's one of the main reasons I do not engage or associate with trans community events. So there you have it. Thanks for watching. And please do take action. And we gotta make sure that these problems go away and get fixed properly.